Well, today is the day. I got to get these rabbits back behind me processed. Hey there, welcome back to another Slightly Redneck video. Again, my name's Chris, and if you're not familiar with this channel, well, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or even a spare room in your house if that's the way you want to do it. And like I said in the intro, today's the day we're going to be processing some rabbits. I've done this on video before, but you know, that's what I got to get done today, so that's what we're going to be filming. And I figured some of you guys may be a little bit new, and you may not have seen it. If you need a refresher or something like that, it may be something worthwhile watching. So, normally, what I do when I have a litter of rabbits, I offer them up for sale, $30 a piece, because, you know, at $30, it's better to sell the rabbit than it is to eat the rabbit. I can buy some quite a bit of food for 30 bucks. And these didn't sell, so it's time to get them processed. I've kind of been putting it off a little bit. Because it's been so hot out still. I didn't want to get out here in the heat and do it, and it's still pretty warm today. It has cooled off a little, but we're still mid to high 80s. But it's time. I got to get them processed. They haven't sold, and they're well past due. So they're a little bigger than what I normally would go with. But here, let me show you my setup first. Then we'll get to actually processing the rabbits. So I don't know if you can see this. I got a trash can right here, a big trash can. I'm going to set underneath here to catch everything that I, discard. I've got a couple of slip knots tied in a piece of paracord around this limb. I actually need to untie it because it's choking off this limb. This is kind of a junk tree anyway, it doesn't really matter, but it's been up there for a while and the limb's starting to grow around it. So after I get done here, I'm probably gonna have to untie it if I can get it out of the tree, and then I'll just tie it back up there whenever I need to use it again. But right now it's okay. So anyway, slip knots, I'll be able to hang their feet in, hang them right here, and do my processing right here instead of having to bend over and do it. Saves my back quite a bit. Over here I've got, let me bring you in a little closer. Okay, if I'm on camera, yeah I am. Okay, so over here I've got kind of my whole setup here. I've got a couple of bowls. One is going to be for the rabbit, the rabbit itself, and the other is going to be for, like, I'm going to save the kidneys and the liver. Probably for the dog actually, but I'm going to save those. I've got my trusty welding sleeves so I can put these on, save my arms from getting scratched up when I carry the rabbits over. Some gloves to use just to kind of keep my hands a little bit on the clean side. Good sharp knife. And people always ask me what's the best. It doesn't matter what knife you use. There's not a ton of knife work that needs to be done. Just make sure it's sharp. That'll make it a lot easier to get the work done. And then I've got a pair of pruners here, handheld pruners to cut through bone, those kinds of things. And last but not least, 22 caliber air rifle. That's going to be what I'm going to use to dispatch. Does a pretty good job. It's 22 caliber, a little bit bigger than the .177, so it does a pretty good job. Pretty quick, pretty humane, about as humane as I can get. I don't want this to be a long, drawn-out process. I want to put them down quickly, humanely, and get it done. So, all my setup right here, ready to go. All I got to do is grab a rabbit, bring it over, dispatch, hang it up, and get to work. So we'll do that next. Okay, so this is primarily where I'm going to be working. I won't be able to show the actual dispatching on camera because YouTube's a little, if they don't like that. So I'll dispatch the rabbit and get it hung up. Dispatch is pretty easy. It's just going to be, basically you draw an X between the eyes, across the back of the head to the ears, and right about there is where you're going to put that pellet, basically. And that's going to dispatch that rabbit pretty quick, pretty humane as I can be with it anyway. So I'm going to get my rifle ready, and we'll go get a rabbit and come back and get it done. So put on my welding sleeves so I can avoid my scratches, and we'll be back with you here in just a few minutes. Okay. So this rabbit's dispatched. You may see a little bit of movement. That's just nerves kicking. So I'm going to hang it up here real quick and get my knife over here. Make sure it's hanging up primarily above that. And we'll cut the neck here. Let it bleed out for just a second. Doesn't seem to be bleeding. There it goes. It's bleeding. Okay, now we're about ready. Now I'm going to move that trash can for just a second. We're going to spray this rabbit down. I like to spray them down with a little bit of water. helps keep the fur from sticking to the meat. Makes it a little bit easier to get them skinned. I'm bouncing the camera with the hose. Sorry about that. And there's no reason for me to do that with my trash can under it, because I don't need that trash can filling up with water. All right, so we're going to start up here at the legs. We're going to just cut around the skin. If you have a sharp knife, it helps because you can cut around the skin without cutting into the meat, and that's what we're really trying to do here. And then just pull that skin down, basically. Do the same thing on the other leg. And I think I got it. If you do happen to cut into the meat and you're pulling the meat away with the skin, if you fold it back, cut against, like you can see where it's holding on right there maybe. I don't know if that's showing up in camera very well or not, but cut against the skin and that will release the meat. You usually don't need to do that if you're, unless you just, like I said, happen to cut through the meat while you're trying to skin it and the meat starts pulling away. Usually, if you've got a good sharp knife, you can cut through the skin without having to worry about that. All right, we're gonna separate that skin from the meat right there. Cut right here. I'm not saving the pelts. I'm gonna cut the tail off right there. It's pretty easy to cut off. Usually I can just do that with my knife. And then we'll pull the skin all the way down. All the way down to where the front legs are exposed. Stick my thumb through there, pull the legs up all the way to the ankles. This is where my turners come in. I don't know if I'm on camera or not. Kind of, it's a little hard to show all this on camera, but you kind of get the picture. I'll cut through the bone on the ankles and on the back of the neck to take the head as I go. And that doesn't cut through all the meat, but it does cut through the bone, so it saves my knife from really dulling out. So there we go. All right, now we're going to open this thing up. Keep your knife pointed towards you so you don't puncture the gut. We're just going to make a small incision right there, and as I'm pulling away from the interior, open it all the way up right down to there. And then we should be able to get most of this stuff out pretty easily. One thing I always watch out for is the bladder right there. You don't want to puncture the bladder if you can avoid it. So we'll pinch it off up a little bit high, take my knife, cut it away, discard of that so we don't have to worry about it. You've also got a little bit of the intestinal tract there that runs up there and kind of help keep from getting feces on the meat. If you pull that out, and then as we pull this out, set my knife down for a minute because I don't really need it. Stomach and everything comes right out. I've got the kidneys right here. I'm going to save those, and I've got the liver right inside there. So we'll just pull that away. Now, one thing with the liver, we want to remove the gallbladder, which is right there. That little green thing on the liver, hopefully you can kind of see that. We want to remove that. Usually, sometimes I have to get the knife out for it. Most of the time I can just grab it, pinch it, and pull it off. So I'm going to try to do that. It's hard for me to show on camera though. Grab right above there, if I can get a hold of it. There it goes. Got rid of that. That goes in my bowl. Let's open this thing up the rest of the way. Get through the diaphragm and the rib cage. You've got the heart, and I'm going to save the heart too. That will be just fine for dog food. Honestly, the lungs would be okay too, but I'm going to go ahead and just discard them. So the lungs come out, and we're almost done. It goes pretty quick, honestly. I like to pull the diaphragm away from the body. Just pull it, drop it in there. A lot of this fat, I pull it away. Rabbit fat, I don't think it's all that great. So, and it's not marbled, it's just surface fat. So I pull it away and throw it off there. Some of it I'll just take care of later. All right, now we need to open up right here and get to that to clean that out in between, if that makes sense. So just take my knife, cut down through there, just make a cut in the meat, break it open basically. And I can stick my thumb in there and pull everything out. I got a little bit of a mess on the meat there, which I kind of like to avoid. I usually do, but I didn't this time, so I'm going to rinse it off again. Get my trash can out of the way. All right, so I think we're pretty much done. Let's see. And I can use a little bit of rinsing right there. All right. All right, so not much left to do here. Pruners again. Take off these legs at the ankles. Again, that's just breaking through the bone, so I don't have to do that with my knife. And then take my knife, cut away, and cut that one away. Now I'll take these in, and I'll do a little bit better cleaning job once I'm done, but right now it's just a matter of getting through them. Open up my slip knots for them again, and we're ready for the next rabbit. So, give me a minute here. I'll do one more on camera for you and try to get in maybe a little bit closer for you, and then the rest of them I can probably do off camera, because honestly it's just the same thing over and over again, but it goes pretty quick. It's not too terribly bad. So hang on, I'll be back. Let me get one more dispatched, hung up, and we'll get started again. Okay. Let those nerves stop firing for just a minute. Like I said, rabbit is dispatched. Just nerves firing off right now. Get them all hung up. Cut here at the neck. And let him bleed out for just a minute. While that's happening, I'd probably try to readjust the camera just a little bit. Try to get you a little bit closer. I may be blocking the camera a little bit off and on, but probably about as good as I can get. Now let's spray him off real quick. I say him, this is actually a female, but okay. All right, here we go. Again, just cut around the legs. Pull the skin down. A sharp knife really helps on this. I mean, I'm just running the knife along there, not really putting much effort into it, and that helps significantly. You can see I don't know if you can see this or not, I kind of cut through the meat just a little bit there, and it's wanting to pull, but it's holding, so I think we'll be okay. Yeah, we're fine. All right, and then again, I'm gonna poke my fingers through there, get that kind of separated, cut the fur, turn them around. We're gonna take the tail off now. And the way I take that tail off is I hold it back as far as I can and then just cut through. It's pretty soft, so it's not hard on your knife really. And then pull the skin all the way down till those front shoulders pop out. I don't know if you can see that. You can see the front shoulders, or the front elbows, I guess they are, pop out. And then I just kind of stick my thumb through there to separate the skin from the leg itself. There we go. Pull till I get down to about the ankle. Do the same thing on the other side. Pull till I get down to the ankle. Let's cut those off. And then we'll cut the neck bone. And then back to the knife. Cutting through that bone with those pruners really helps save your knife. All right, now we're ready. Let's open them up. Open her up. Sometimes it helps to kind of stick your hand inside here. Hold that open so you can cut this away a little bit without tearing open the insides, because that could be kind of a mess. All right, let's get the bladder out of the way here first. I'll just pinch it up real high, cut it away, throw it away. We're done. Get this little piece of the intestinal tract right there. Pull as much of it as I can. We'll deal with the rest of that here in a minute. All right, there we go. We got kidneys right there, one right there. Those just pull out. Go in our offal bowl. Offal, yeah, offal bowl. It's not that the bowl's awful, it's that that's what's going in is the offal. All right. Again, here's that gallbladder right there on the liver. I think you can probably see that. And I'm just going to try to pinch it right there and pull that away. There we go, got it. All right. Pull the diaphragm apart. Let's get my knife in here and open up that chest cavity a little bit. Here we go. Lungs are on top. We pull them out. And the heart's right underneath them. So we'll take care of that heart here. Oh, I know you can't see it on camera, but there we go. Oh, crap, dropped the heart. There it is. There it is. Anyway, we got it. All right. Let's see what we got here. A little bit of this fat can go. I'll take care of the rest of it later when I'm cleaning them up inside out of the heat. But might as well take care of what I can right here. All right, now we're going to open it up right there. Just cut along the meat, twist it to break it. I should open it up. I'm going to take my knife again. Right where that bone broke, I can open it up on either side. And usually, we can just pull all that stuff out in one go. And we got it. That went much smoother than the first time. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty much cleaned up, ready to go. Like I said, I'll do a little additional cleanup once I get them inside. And that's about it. Let's take off my ankles. All right. Set my slip knots back up to be ready for the next one. Rinse my hands a little. Well, that's pretty much all the process is right there. You can do it pretty quick, you know, when you've got your mind set to it. You're just working through them one right after the other. I've got 4 more to go. I got 2 down, 4 more to go, but there's no sense in me keep showing you over and over again. It's the same process over and over again. So we'll probably just wrap this up at this point. Let's see, the only other things I would talk about is what I do with the leftovers that are in the trash can. I'm just going to tie that up, throw it in my trash. Trash goes out on Wednesday. This is Sunday. Be a couple of days there where we probably won't want to open the trash can out there because it's going to be kind of stinky probably, but it's not that bad, and it goes out on Wednesday and it'll be taken care of. Just a couple of days. The rabbits themselves will go in the fridge. I do not soak my rabbits in water. I'll clean them up real good, lay them in a bowl, try to dry them as much as I can so they dry age. And they'll dry age for, you know, roughly 36 hours or up to a week. It doesn't really matter as long as you're keeping them in a refrigerated spot. and just to let the rigor mortis leave the meat, let it rest that long, and then it's ready to be put in the freezer, cook, or whatever I want to do with it at that point. I think that's pretty much it. Those are the majority of the questions that I get whenever I talk about processing rabbits, is how do you take care of the meat afterwards? What do you do with everything that's left over? You know, all that stuff. You could save the skins if you wanted to and try to tan them out. These are young rabbits. They're not, their skin's not going to be super high quality fur. It's going to be pretty much just craft fur. I mean, you're not going to be able to use it for really much of anything. But if you want to, go ahead and do it. I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't. I just don't bother with it most of the time. I've got too much going on and too busy to deal with it. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this one up right here. I'm going to go get the rest of these rabbits taken care of and get out of this heat, because it is a little bit warm out. Right now I'm in the shade, but I only probably got about another hour and a half before the sun's going to be hitting right where I'm standing. So I'm going to try to, this won't take me an hour and a half, but I'm going to try to get all this stuff done here pretty quick, get it wrapped up, get it taken care of. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You got something out of it if you haven't seen the process before. Maybe you got refreshed on something if you needed to see it again. And as always, God bless.